A new season of Survivor is upon us, and what is that promo? People are falling off rocks, rubbing rocks all over their body, and I bet you Rockstory is wishing he was back in Fiji right now. Internet, my name is Rocky. Sorry, no, Peridiam, not Rocky. What? And welcome to the preseason cast analysis for Survivor 44. Let's rank the cast with barely anything to go off of, from who I think is least likely gonna win to most. In dead last, and thus most likely to be the winner of the season, if last season is anything to go by, I have inversed the curse, or the streak, of Canadian winners by putting Kane at number 18. From Moose Jaw, Canada, Kane is a 25-year-old law student who compares himself to Tyson and Zeke. Although, if I'm being honest, he reminds me quite strongly of Daniel from Survivor 42, and he's very strategic. But as he says, he's not playing for the money or the adventure. He's a gamer, with a capital G. Kane is the guy who either blows the lid off the season with his tactics, or falls towards the bottom of the pack. Consider him the next winner. At number 17, I'm swapping over to the Green Tribe. I have Claire, another 25-year-old and a tech investor and venture capitalist from Illinois. Claire swung like a massive pendulum in my preseason analysis. In her 1-minute CBS bio, I really liked what I saw and had her as high as number 4. But then I listened to longer interviews and started to notice some cracks that made me think that she could actually be the first one out from her tribe. She is a fan of Natalie Anderson and loves the pettiness, relates to Courtney from China. And while I love that from a character perspective, I'm not so hot on it as winner potential. I get the sense she may rub some people the wrong way, as she has described herself as opinionated, and while my gut wants to champion her, my brain is saying this isn't gonna be another Gabler situation. And then we go to the Purple Tribe for the person that I believe may be the first out, and that is going to be Bruce from Rhode Island. And I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. It's kind of in the season trailer, and given I've rewatched this like 30 times, I hope I'm wrong about his fate. He seems like the most normal guy on the cast. He is cool, calm, and collected. He's got an inspirational story about being adopted and how that can work for him in the game like Survivor, of which he is a big fan. And I just kind of wonder if my hesitation to put him higher is Much Ado About Nothing or the real deal. On paper, Bruce could do really well, and I think we're all about to find out. In 15th, I have Brandon, the ex-football player turned security specialist from Pennsylvania. Now, truth be told, I don't tend to have a lot of faith in the athlete archetype when it comes to Survivor. They're too big a physical threat, and they're never privy enough to the game to ward off like being a mid-merge boot. I am predicting that Brandon will likely make the merge by just default, but will he have the wits to keep going? He loved the hourglass twist from season 41, and he compares himself to Danny from that season, and I kind of wonder if he should consider the challenge when all said and done. In 14th, I have Sarah, a 27-year-old management consultant from Minnesota. Sarah seems really normal, and that's like the opposite of Gabler, and thus I have her relatively low. Low-key, that's how I'm grading the 44 cast. Sarah will be strategic, she will look for idols, she also compares herself to Natalie Anderson, and then Andrea, and yeah, hopefully I can remember her name 3 months from now, but here's the deal. If you saw my preseason video for Survivor 41, you would recall I had the least to say about Shan, and we all saw how that season went. Sarah surprised me. In 13th, I have the love child of Coach and Debbie, sprinkled with a bit of sugar on top. It is Carolyn, a 35-year-old drug counselor, also from Minnesota. Carolyn is a lot. She's a character. Carolyn is the woman who rubbed rocks over herself in the preview, and the best part of all of this is that Carolyn is very aware. She is all of the above and more. She's an org player, an online reality game Survivor player. She is a massive fan, and the only thing stopping her from winning is, well, the rest of the cast not voting for her because of everything I just said. I live for the Carolyns of the world to be on this show. She will shine bright, but she also may blind everyone else at the same time. At number 12, I have Matt B., a 27-year-old security software engineer from California. Matt compared himself to Eric from Micronesia, and I gotta say, that is a really apt comparison because I got major Eric vibes from him. He's soft-spoken, goofy, always has a smile on his face. He got into Survivor when a girl he liked introduced him to the show. That's not really significant, but it's just the same origin story as myself. I like him, but I worry that he won't have a strong enough influence in the game to be a frontrunner to win over a jury. Number 11 is Franny, a 23-year-old research coordinator, also from Minnesota. What's with all these people from Minnesota? Franny is the younger, geeky woman archetype who has a bit of anxious energy, but is quite likable. Like Aubrey or Hannah, she's zesty and she knows it. She relates herself to Sophie Clark and Gabby, which means that she needs to find her coach, that probably being Carolyn, given he's pretty much her dad, and pull some strings in the shadows. Franny wants to do just that, but I'm about 50-50 on whether she can make it work, so she's just sort of somewhere in the middle of my ranking. At number 10, I have Maddie, a 28-year-old charity projects manager from Maryland. What's up, Maryland? And she quit her job as an assistant to a CEO to play Survivor. As Jeff would say, that's a big move. I hope it pays off. She says she wants to lay low early on and start to pull the strings down the line, play a bit like Parvati and Suri, get wheeled in one of those chariot type things. I have faith in my top 10, and Maddie is just the beginning. She wishes the game were 39 days, she wants to work with the women, and she could get targeted early for being smaller, but perhaps she's got a few tricks up her sleeve. Moving to the upper half, I have Lauren, a 31-year-old elementary school teacher from Texas. A single mom with 2 boys, Lauren has a big smile and expects to be underestimated, and she wants to use that to her advantage. She also says she relates to Parvati, although she calls her Poverty, and also Natalie Anderson, and then also Shan. I'm trying so hard to make this Venn diagram work, and I think it kind of could in like a new age heroes versus villains. I think Lauren is gonna be able to make something work. Her southern accent and charm could go a long way, and she will prove people wrong. Whoever needs to be proven wrong anyway. At number 8, I have Danny, a 32-year-old firefighter from the Bronx in New York. And I may be underselling Danny here because firefighters tend to do well in Survivor, so why not him? He's aware of his persona. He can be kind of bro-y, but he's gonna aim to be the opposite. He's gonna subvert expectations. He does relate himself to Jeremy and then also Christian, likely because of their lean, chiseled brains, and overall he seems pretty humble. I like him. He's physically fit, and that should work in his favor. He doesn't really appear to have a big ego, and maybe he will find a way to lay low deeper into the game when the final tribal is knocking. At number 7, gimme Carson, a 20-year-old NASA engineering student from Georgia. Similar to Danny, which is definitely a comparison he probably gets all the time, he is very aware of how he'll be perceived. Heck, most of you are already probably thinking he's this young, nerdy superfan guy, and you know what? You'd be right. But Carson is gonna use that to his advantage, whatever that means. He says that he wants to let others control the game for him. He's not gonna try to prove himself, which, I'll be honest, is music to my ears. So many people, especially seemingly when they're younger, aim to prove themselves to the world, and Carson isn't here for that at all. He's gonna hide his engineering background, which I guess could be worth something, but he does study 3D printed Survivor puzzles, and he wants to be the puppet master when all is said and done. Lofty goals, Carson, but I trust his mind to figure it out. Also, I gotta say, he is much fitter than you might realize, and I wouldn't be surprised if his face was one day sold on a pillow. Speaking of pillows, put number 6's face on one, because it is Jam Jam, a 35-year-old salon owner from Puerto Rico. Jam Jam is so excited to see Jeff Probst and poop in the ocean, and I hope both of those things not only live up to the hype, but they happen at the same time. Jam Jam is a character. He doesn't shut up according to his husband. He's got the biggest smile of anyone, and his overall demeanor is quite disarming. His MO is to let his guard down on purpose so others can feel vulnerable around him. I actually think that's a pretty good way of bonding. He's one of the only people in the cast to get a chuckle out of me in this preseason, and when he relates himself to both Sandra and Suri, I can see it. He is a people person. He's kind of like Rupert, but with less of an ego. And if Rupert can be awarded $1 million for just existing, why not Jam Jam? At number 5, I have Jamie, a 35-year-old yogi from Arizona. Jamie worked in corporate America for a while and climbed the white-collar ladder, but then she left it all behind to do what she loved. Yoga is now her guiding light, and I get the sense that she could be more lethal than she lets on. She seems pretty grounded, more than I expected. She's a massive fan who watched the show back in the days on VHS. That is real old school. She does compare herself to Marianne, which I can see, and then Shan, which I maybe can also see I really like her demeanor. She is chipper, has a sense of strategy, plans to look for advantages right away, and even has a comprehensive idea for her ideal alliance structure. It could work out, and you know what? For the preseason, I like what I'm hearing. And number 4, I have Josh, a 34-year-old surgical podiatrist from Ohio. Josh is the all-arounder for me. He's a good age to win, he's in good shape, he's smart, he's gonna lie about his profession, but you know, hey, he makes some money, I don't blame him. He wants to play a bit like Jeremy and Davey. Level-headed, excited, but doesn't want to let his emotions get the best of him. I do kind of feel like Josh may be too much of a threat. Like, if I feel like he's this good in the preseason, what's gonna happen when he gets onto the beach? But you know what? Will others in the cast see the same thing? For now, the way I see it, if someone's gonna break out as a front runner, give me Josh. And so we have my top 3. One player from each tribe, that being Heidi, Helen, and Matthew. And so for third, I have Heidi, a 43-year-old engineering manager from Puerto Rico. Hold on, 2 Puerto Ricans in 1 season. If history serves me right, if they combine together to work their magic, who can stop them? I think Heidi is the #1 most underestimated player on this cast in this preseason, and when I watch her interviews, I see a combo of Sandra and Denise. Heidi also references Sandra as an inspiration. She's a mom, and she wants to show her kids she's cut out for the game. I found Heidi level-headed and likable. She's intelligent, she works in STEM. She's a people person who is unassuming. She's got that engineering mind. Maybe we'll get an Engineers Alliance. Oh wait, no, Carson's planning on not telling anyone. Either way, I feel good about her. I flipped a coin for who I have at #1, and ultimately I am putting the order at Helen being #2, and Matthew being #1. Helen is a 29-year-old product manager from Massachusetts. She is strategic, sound, wants to play like Erica, under the radar, charm everyone, anticipate moves. I got the impression she was the most like Erica on this cast, and whenever a player says the person that I'm thinking of before they say it, it's a good sign, especially if they compare themselves to a winner. She talks about being able to code switch and adapt to a variety of people on a whim, a valuable skill. She does joke about getting lost in the jungle looking for idols, and you know, hey, perhaps she'll get lost enough to reach the end and snag the win. Which leaves me with Matthew, a 43-year-old barbershop owner from Ohio. Half the preview for 44 was focused on this man climbing and then falling down a rock. And why not just use that as a metaphor for the entire season? Except he manages to climb the rock in the end because he wins. He's a dad focused on his kid, and that's kind of his strategy. He's gonna be the dad of the season. Nice guy, friendly, lots of laughs. He's a social butterfly. He owns a barbershop. Maybe he'll connect with Jam Jam and form a Sweeney Todd alliance. He has been a fan since Borneo and relates himself to both Elaine and Ben, which I think are pretty eclectic picks, although he is also a fan of Malcolm. He loves being outdoors, he's proactive in getting stuff done, he is caring, disarming, a big teddy bear, and while I don't know if he'll be a big strategist or even a front runner, you don't really need to be to win Survivor, do you? He's just got to survive that rock fall. And that's it. That is my ranking of the entire Survivor 44 cast in the preseason. Let me know what you think about my order and also who you think is gonna win. We only got a few more hours. After that, it's basically like cheating. Give me your preseason like top 4. Who are your top 4 preseason picks to win? Or you can give me your entire list. Either way. A big thank you to my patrons for being here for another season of Survivor. It's wild how many seasons I've been here and it still just doesn't get old. It's been almost 5 years. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to keep your head on straight at your first challenge, and I will see you in the next one once I take an aqua dump while staring Jeff straight in the eyes.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see Jeff. I can't wait to not eat. Not shower, not brush my teeth, poop in the ocean. Bring it!
Welcome to Survivor 44. You're here.
But at the end of the day,
It's a game!